What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Chapter 3 is officially out, so let's get into it. In the first page, we're met with a character being caught who goes by the name of Genji, but he seems to be on Hibiru's side and refers to him as Young Boss. Now, we're getting more information as to what actually happened during the 2-week time skip. By Genji's words, a rebellion has taken place during that time, instigated by Shio, who's pretty much being built up to be the first main big villain. And we found out the remaining siblings have split into their own factions or their own teams, and they all retain their own bases. Now, I'm going to list off the people that we know as of now. Shio, the first adopted son, teams with the second adopted son, Satsugi, by his side. Then we have Turazo, the third adopted son, Goshiki, the fifth adopted son, Shikabai, the 8th adopted son, paired with Terra, the 9th, and finally Kirin, however you do pronounce that, the 10th adopted son, sided with Ko, the 11th. So, as we learned in the previous 2 chapters, the siblings hate that Tarasu is in charge, and mixed with Shio's ideas starting the rebellion, they pretty much all aim to take the title of boss and pretty much take out Tarasu, given the kill order by Shio. So, due to Hibiru's recklessness and courage, they secured the main base, which is a pretty good victory after running out the Hawk faction last chapter. This base also contains an armory, so they have a lot of weapons. And due to Shio's faction having 500 people, the others having 100 to 200 people, and Hibiru's having a mere 10, we get some conflict here between our main 2 characters, and Tarasu resorts to the idea of using firearms, which Hibiru does not agree with at all. They get into a big argument, and thus begins the whole one doing what needs to be done or what they think needs to be done, and one doing what's right. The dynamic butting heads. You've probably seen that in media before, and I love it. It's a good dynamic for these 2, especially given their personalities. But we do get a little bit of a more rash, more harsh side of Tarasu this chapter. They get into a fight over this, but not a normal fight. The Yotsurugi family, they have codes, and one of these codes being any fight between brothers should be settled by a throwdown with 0 outside interference. And for the first time, what we see is Tarasu's Astro power, the shield. He wished for the power to protect the gang with these pendants. Now we have the bullet and the shield duo. And personally, this is a dynamic I just will know. They will come in handy in the future, and it's going to be pretty cool, bro. We got the shield, we got the bullet. That's pretty nice. And let's see here. Yeah, Tarasu is concerned a war is going to break out over Tokyo, and that they're gonna need weapons to kind of even out given the number disadvantage. You know, we have 10 people versus 500 and then 1 to 200. So I can see why he wants to use guns. Let me know what you guys think about it. Maybe it's harsh, but I don't think they're the gang that they used to be, like the nice people. They're kind of like a money-hungry organization, it seems like, that only care about power. At least, not Hibiru and Tarasu, more like the other brothers. Anyway, Hibiru doesn't agree to this, but to Tarasu, it's pretty much killed or be killed. It may seem harsh, but it's no worse than what Shio's done by giving the kill order. So if anything, Tarasu is just matching Shio's energy here. For Hibiru's side, it's really about none of that. It's merely a fight between brothers. And Hibiru's words of how they've gotten into fights before, but also shared a lot of good times, makes it hard to not see his side of the situation. The stakes are pretty high at this point, but at the end of the day, they are brothers, and Hibiru knows that. And he doesn't want to go too far. You know, he doesn't want to do something that he can't take back, especially, you know, given his personality and what we know about him. I think that fits pretty well. I think everything he's doing fits really well. So to say they're nothing more than strangers, I think is harsh by Tarasu, but, you know, it's not exactly true. But I don't think Tarasu is wrong for saying it. You know, due to what happened during the disaster and at the Hawk faction battle. The battle ends between Tarasu and Hibiru. Ends in a stalemate, or it kind of ends with Hibiru pulling his final punch, as Tarasu seems to understand the other side. Hibiru's talking to him during the fight, and after the battle, we're given a great panel and a goal for the plot moving forward. Although I'm unsure as to if it'll come into fruition for everyone. Anyway, in this panel, he says, and I quote, "I'm going to face every last one of them and convince them to join us." Now, although doubtful, I could definitely see this coming true for some of the brothers. So in the earlier chapters, we learned how the gang used to be and how it grew into a business and strayed from their roots. It can sometimes be easy to become lost in the motion and the money of it all and lose sight of what once was. But Hebrew hasn't. And we see that as he quotes his father. He acts like him. He represents his clothes. He does the good acts like the guy, the Gramps in the business. He hasn't forgotten how things used to be and refuses to let go of the concept. I could 100% see some of the brothers realizing their own mistakes and joining Hebrew's side, almost in a Luffy way from One Piece, as he convinces his allies to side with him after beating them to a pulp. He also seems to have changed Tarasu's mind with just a couple sentences in that battle, or at the very least, make him reconsider. So we get this next panel. The next day arrives, and we see Hebrew and Tarasu pay a visit to one of the siblings in, their first mission to achieve their goal of getting everyone on their side. Now, I'm quoting here. Kiran, the ruthless leader of the family's Ikebukuro branch and the 10th adopted son who climbed his way up the ranks by pure skill alone. Kiran, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that is what is said about who he's going to visit. This is one of the siblings. Now, not only does he look absolutely badass and ice cold in this panel and the thumbnail, but given his pure skill, I can only imagine his capabilities given an Astro power, because he climbed to the ranks on pure skill alone before powers were even a thing. So if he held on to something good and he wished for something powerful, I mean, he could probably rival Shio. He could rival Hebrew, but this is actually someone just from the concept, I thought this would be maybe someone we would meet later on, and definitely not this early on. Now for some post-chapter thoughts. I'm actually unsure as to how this meeting will go, and I'm sure there's probably going to be some kind of face-off by the end of it, especially given Ko, the 11th adopted son. That's who's by Kirin's side. And he doesn't seem to be too fond of Hebrew. Recalling the first chapter, we already know he hates Hebrew and thinks he's spoiled, seems to not respect his father, but we haven't really met Kirin yet. But even if he's open to Hebrew's words, I could easily see Ko forcing his opinion and changing the situation. It wouldn't be too off the rails to say we might be getting a solid 2v2 going on in this next chapter, between all the, everything at play, what we have and what's gonna happen. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have for today, so please do discuss down in the comments below or in the my Discord in the description. If y'all did enjoy, make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more ARTR and Shonen related content. I'll be watching MHA Season 2 soon, so I'll see you there. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one.